June 26, 2025. A date etched in anticipation, a promise of forever hanging in the air. Crestwood Manor glowed under the summer sun, its manicured lawns and stately facade radiating an almost ethereal beauty. The perfect backdrop for a day of dreams. A perfect day, seemingly, for Eleanor Vance's wedding. Every detail meticulously planned, every hope pinned on this moment. She was radiant, a vision in white, gliding down the aisle with grace and poise. Her eyes sparkled with joy, reflecting the sunlight filtering through the ancient trees. Toward Julian Croft, her smile dazzling, a beacon of love and commitment. He stood waiting, his eyes filled with adoration. The guests enchanted, captivated by the unfolding fairy tale. Each face held a reflection of the couple's happiness, a shared belief in the power of love. The ceremony was flawless, a seamless blend of tradition and heartfelt emotion. Vows exchanged, promises whispered, a kiss sealing forever, or so it seemed. But happiness can be an illusion, a fragile facade masking a darker reality. Between the cake and the bouquet toss, Eleanor vanished, leaving behind a void that would forever haunt Crestwood Manor. At first it was a whisper, "Have you seen Eleanor?" A casual inquiry, easily dismissed. Bridesmaids checked the powder room, their laughter echoing in the sterile space. Groomsmen searched the gardens, their voices calling her name, growing increasingly frantic. She was nowhere. Julian's calm faded to panic as the search widened, his face etched with disbelief and growing fear. The perfect day fractured. Fear replaced joy, casting a long shadow over the once celebratory atmosphere. The sun set, casting long, eerie shadows across the manicured lawns. Darkness fell, enveloping the manor in an unsettling silence. And Eleanor Vance was gone, vanished without a trace, leaving behind a mystery that defied explanation. Leaving behind only a half-eaten piece of cake, a stark reminder of the celebration that never reached its conclusion, and a chilling question: where did she go? A question that echoed through the halls of Crestwood Manor, unanswered and unsettling. The music played on, a haunting melody in the otherwise silent hall, but the bride had disappeared into thin air, leaving behind an emptiness that no amount of music could fill. Guests murmured, confusion turning to dread, their faces reflecting the growing unease that permeated the air. The celebration ended in silence, the fairy tale shattered, leaving behind only broken dreams and unanswered questions. Crestwood Manor, once a place of beginnings, a symbol of hope and new chapters, became the scene of a haunting mystery, a place where joy turned to sorrow and dreams dissolved into nightmares. The bride had vanished on her wedding day, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and chilling uncertainty. Every wedding has its observers, those silent witnesses to a day meant to be filled with joy. They watch the unfolding narrative, the promises exchanged, the hopes declared. Chloe, Eleanor's maid of honor, remembered a flicker of hesitation that morning, a subtle shadow crossing Eleanor's face. It was a fleeting moment, easily missed, but Chloe's sharp eyes caught it. It was just before the ceremony, a text that made Eleanor's face fall, the joy instantly replaced by a look of deep concern. When asked, Eleanor brushed it off as spam, a trivial annoyance on a day of celebration. She tried to laugh it off to regain her composure, but Chloe knew it was more. She saw the forced smile, the way Eleanor's eyes darted around the room, a subtle sign of distress. The photographer saw Julian as oddly focused, his gaze intense, almost predatory. He seemed less like a groom and more like someone meticulously managing a scene. More director than groom, orchestrating every detail, ensuring everything was precisely as he envisioned. He was even checking his watch during vows, a blatant display of impatience that spoke volumes. The officiant sensed strain beneath the surface, a palpable tension that contradicted the joyous occasion. He felt a disquiet, a sense that something was amiss. Eleanor's hand trembled as Julian slipped on the ring, a subtle tremor that betrayed her inner turmoil. The catering manager noticed Julian slipping away from the head table twice, a peculiar behavior for a groom on his wedding day. He was ducking out for heated phone calls by the service entrance, his voice rising in anger, the words muffled but the emotion clear. He returned with a forced smile plastered on his face, but his eyes remained cold, devoid of warmth. The day felt staged, a performance, meticulously crafted to conceal a darker truth. Even the guests sensed something off, a subtle unease that permeated the celebration. A tension beneath the celebration, a discordant note in the symphony of joy. The perfect wedding was a carefully constructed illusion, a facade designed to hide the cracks beneath. Behind the laughter, secrets simmered, unspoken truths that threatened to boil over. Chloe's unease grew as the day unfolded, each subtle sign adding to her growing suspicion. The photographer's lens caught more than smiles, capturing fleeting moments of anxiety and veiled expressions. The officiant's intuition nagged at him, a persistent feeling that something was deeply wrong. The catering manager watched, suspicious, piecing together the groom's odd behavior. In hindsight, everyone saw the cracks, the subtle signs they had chosen to ignore. The wedding was a stage, meticulously set for a drama no one anticipated. And the actors were hiding something, concealing secrets behind carefully constructed smiles. The truth was there, in the details no one wanted to see, the subtle clues that pointed to a darker reality. And then, the bride was gone, vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. The first 911 call came just after 11. The dispatcher, trained to remain calm, could sense the raw panic in the caller's voice. It was a call that would set in motion a chain of events, a frantic search against the relentless ticking of the clock. Julian Croft, frantic, reported his bride missing. His voice was strained, barely audible above the background noise of what should have been a joyous celebration. He repeated her name, Eleanor, as if willing her to reappear with each utterance. At first, police suspected cold feet or a lover's quarrel. These things happen, especially amidst the pressure and emotions of a wedding day. It's not uncommon for someone to simply need space, to escape the spotlight, even if only for a little while. But as hours passed and searches turned up nothing, dread set in. The initial assumptions began to crumble, replaced by a gnawing unease. This was no longer a simple case of nerves. Something far more sinister was at play. Detective Miller's interview with Julian revealed a tight timeline. Eleanor left for air after their dance, promising to return. She seemed happy, radiant even, as she stepped out onto the terrace, seeking a moment of quiet amidst the revelry. Julian claimed his aunt stopped him. When he looked back, Eleanor was gone, vanished without a trace, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a growing sense of despair. No argument, no sign of distress, just disappearance. It was as if she had simply evaporated into the night air, leaving no clue as to her whereabouts or the reason for her vanishing. The search expanded. Woods, waterways, every guest questioned. All said the same: Eleanor was happy, then simply gone. No one reported seeing anything suspicious, no strange encounters, just a bride who stepped outside and never returned. The terrace, her last known location, led to an unlit path and a service road, a blind spot, no cameras. A crucial gap in the surveillance, a place where someone could disappear without being seen, a chilling realization for the investigators. 30 minutes vanished with her. 30 minutes that held the key to unlocking the mystery. 30 minutes that stretched into an eternity for those who loved her. By dawn, yellow police tape replaced wedding ribbons. The vibrant colors of celebration were now overshadowed by the stark reality of a crime scene. The cake sat uneaten, the celebrations soured. The joyous atmosphere had evaporated, replaced by a palpable sense of dread and uncertainty. Investigators focused on the terrace's exit, a perfect place for an abduction or escape. The secluded location offered both opportunity and anonymity, making it a prime focus of the investigation. No evidence, no witnesses, just a chilling void. The absence of any tangible clues only deepened the mystery, leaving investigators grasping at straws. The first 48 hours slipped away, hope fading into dread. The critical window for finding Eleanor alive was closing, and the pressure mounted on the investigators to uncover the truth. The fairy tale was over. The dream wedding had turned into a nightmare, a stark reminder of the fragility of happiness and the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface. The search became a race against time. Every minute counted, every lead had to be pursued, as the investigators fought to bring Eleanor home. The community held its breath. Prayers were whispered, vigils were held, as the town united in hope for Eleanor's safe return. Eleanor's absence was a wound that would not heal. The void she left behind was a constant reminder of the joy that had been stolen, a pain that resonated throughout the community. The mystery deepened with every passing hour. The lack of answers only fueled the speculation and fear, as the investigation continued to unravel the secrets surrounding Eleanor's disappearance. Early evidence was a collection of whispers and oddities. Near the service road, police found Eleanor's pearl earring and a fresh cigar butt, Julian's brand. At the couple's home, a prenuptial agreement surfaced. If Eleanor abandoned the marriage within a year, she got nothing. Julian's phone records revealed frequent late-night calls to a divorce attorney, which he claimed were business-related, a lie, his partner confirmed. Suspicion grew. 2 days before the wedding, Julian rented a sedan with cash, not his own car. GPS showed a trip to a remote state park hours after the wedding, unmentioned by Julian. The grieving groom's story unraveled. The clues pointed to careful planning, not heartbreak. The earring, the cigar, the rental car, all threads in a dark tapestry. Julian's secrets cast a long shadow. The investigation turned from search to suspicion. The groom was no longer above suspicion. Investigators dissected Eleanor's final moments. Cell phone videos showed a perfect couple, but some saw Julian's grip tighten as the last dance ended. Eleanor's smile faltered. She said she needed air. Officially, she walked out alone, but a busboy saw Julian follow her out, contradicting his story. The aunt's memory was hazy, her timeline uncertain. Julian's alibi crumbled. Eleanor's phone, left in her clutch, held the morning's mysterious text. "He knows, don't go through with it." The sender was unknown. Was the warning about Julian or something else? The wedding was no fairy tale, it was a deadline. Eleanor walked down the aisle with a secret. Someone tried to warn her. The last dance was a prelude to disappearance. The truth was hidden in a single chilling message. The investigation shifted. Was Eleanor running from Julian or from something even darker? The mystery deepened. Julian's image as a tech mogul crumbled under scrutiny. His company was failing, debts mounting, investors circling. Eleanor's family wealth was his lifeline, a trust fund transferred upon marriage. The wedding was a transaction, not a romance. The prenuptial agreement was his insurance. Julian's past was a web of lies. He'd changed his name, fled fraud allegations, reinvented himself. He sold Eleanor a fantasy. The rental car's GPS led detectives to a remote river. A dive team found a weighted duffel bag, inside muddy boots, a shovel, plastic sheeting, all purchased by Julian before the wedding. The evidence painted a picture of premeditation. Julian's desperation was clear. The trust fund, the lies, the river trip, motives and means aligned. But there was still no sign of Eleanor. The case was built on shadows and secrets. The truth remained elusive. Just as the case against Julian solidified, a new twist emerged. Detectives found Eleanor's secret: a second passport, cash, and a one-way ticket to Buenos Aires, hidden in a safety deposit box. She'd planned to leave the morning after her wedding. Was she a victim or an architect of her own disappearance? The warning text, "He knows, don't go through with it," took on new meaning. Eleanor had been liquidating assets, learning Spanish, reading about vanishing. She was preparing to run, but from whom? Julian or someone else? The narrative shattered. 2 people, 2 schemes, 1 night. Julian's actions were suspicious, but Eleanor's were secretive. The mystery was no longer just where Eleanor was, but who she really was. 2 lives collided in a storm of deceit. The case was more tangled than ever. Eleanor's escape plan complicated the case. Julian's defense claimed she staged her disappearance, leaving him to take the fall. The prosecution argued he discovered her plan and killed her to protect his future. The text, "He knows," became the trial's fulcrum. The confrontation on the terrace was the crux. Did Julian stop her, or did she slip away? The trial was a media circus. Witnesses torn between love and suspicion. Eleanor's parents watched, grief-stricken and uncertain. The jury faced 2 stories: killer or manipulated husband. No body, no proof, doubt lingered. After weeks of testimony, the verdict, not guilty. Julian walked free, forever shadowed by suspicion. The central question, what happened to Eleanor, remained unanswered. The town was left with only theories. The mystery endured, unsolved. The silence was deafening. Years later, Crestwood lives with Eleanor's ghost. The manor stands empty, a monument to a vanished bride. The story is legend, a cautionary tale whispered among locals. Julian disappeared from public life, his company gone, his name forever linked to suspicion. Some see him as a victim, others as a killer who escaped justice. Eleanor's fate is unknown, victim, fugitive, or something else. No sightings, no answers, just silence. The case remains open, a puzzle with missing pieces. The town waits for closure that may never come. In Crestwood, the silence is the most haunting sound of all. In the aftermath of Eleanor's disappearance, investigators turned to those closest to the wedding. The guests and staff, each with their own story, their own memory of that fateful night. Their statements, collected in police files, paint a fractured picture of Eleanor's final moments. Soft fade in, the clink of champagne glasses, distant laughter. First, the maid of honor, her voice trembling. I saw Eleanor by the terrace around midnight. She looked scared. She told me, "If anything happens tonight, remember I love you." I thought she was just nervous. A groomsman, voice tight with frustration. "That's not true. I was with Eleanor at the bar. She was laughing, completely at ease. There were no signs she was in trouble. People are just making things up." The head caterer, recalling a fleeting encounter. She rushed past the kitchen, her dress torn at the hem. I tried to ask if she needed help, but she shook her head and kept going. I've never seen anyone so desperate. A bridesmaid, tears in her eyes. Julian was arguing with her in the hallway. I heard him say, "You can't leave now." She pushed past him. She looked determined, not frightened. The groundskeeper, voice low and uncertain. "I saw someone in a white dress near the lake, but it was foggy. Could have been Eleanor. Could have been a trick of the light. I still can't be sure." Each statement contradicts the next, the truth slipping further away with every retelling. The only constant is confusion and a sense of loss that lingers, heavy and unresolved. In the end, the witnesses' words offer only fragments of truth, each colored by memory, suspicion, and fear. What really happened to Eleanor on her wedding night? The answer remains as elusive as ever, hidden in the shadows of Crestwood Manor. Official police transcripts reveal what the witnesses could not say aloud. The statements of those closest to Eleanor, her husband, her friends, her family, are riddled with contradictions, evasions, and moments of chilling clarity. Here are excerpts from the interviews, each one illuminating a different shadow. "Mr. Mercer, when was the last time you saw Eleanor on the night of the wedding?" I saw her in the hallway, around midnight. She said she needed air. I thought she was just overwhelmed. She didn't say anything else." Multiple guests recall a heated argument between you and Eleanor. Can you explain? We had a disagreement. She wanted to leave, to go somewhere private. I told her this wasn't the time. That's all. "Miss Lynn, did Eleanor confide in you about any fears or concerns?" "She told me, if anything happens tonight, remember I love you." It didn't sound like a joke. She was pale, shaking. I wish I'd asked more. "Did you see Julian at any point?" "Only from a distance. He looked angry. He slammed a door." "Mr. Porter, where were you around midnight?" "With Eleanor at the bar. She was laughing, drinking champagne. If something was wrong, she hid it well." "Did you see her leave?" "No, she just disappeared." "Did anything unusual happen in the kitchen?" "Eleanor rushed through, her dress torn. She didn't look at me. I asked if she was all right, but she just kept running. She looked terrified." Each account clashes with the next. Julian's story of a quiet moment, Sarah's fear, Alex's denial, Maria's glimpse of panic. The timelines blur, truth and lies twist together. As the transcripts grow, so do the questions. Who is protecting whom? And what secrets died on the night Eleanor vanished? It's late in the investigation when a new piece of evidence surfaces, one that chills even the most seasoned detectives. A voicemail, time-stamped at 12:17 a.m., just minutes after Eleanor was last seen, is discovered on her maid of honor's phone. The message is barely audible, filled with static and muffled whispers. But Eleanor's voice is unmistakable. She sounds breathless, panicked. "Please, if you get this, don't trust..." The message cuts out, replaced by a strange scraping sound, then silence. Forensic audio analysis can't recover the rest. Was she trying to warn someone, or was she being forced to call? Almost simultaneously, a blood-stained handkerchief monogrammed with Eleanor's initials is found hidden behind a loose brick in the venue's garden wall. The blood type matches Eleanor's. No fingerprints, no explanation. Security footage from a rarely used side hallway is pulled for review. The camera's view is grainy, but at 12:19 a.m., it captures a figure in a white dress moving quickly out of frame, followed by a shadowy silhouette just seconds later. The faces are obscured. These fragments, voicemail, handkerchief, footage, raise more questions than answers. Was Eleanor reaching out for help or leaving a clue? Who was following her? And why has this evidence only come to light now, weeks after her disappearance? As investigators piece together the puzzle, the truth slips further away. Every answer leads to another mystery. The night Eleanor vanished is no longer just a timeline of events. It's a labyrinth of secrets, with no clear way out. Just as the investigation seems to have hit a dead end, a routine re-examination of witness statements uncovers an astonishing inconsistency. The groom's best friend, Oliver Hayes, long considered a reliable witness, had claimed to be mingling with guests in the main hall at the time Eleanor disappeared. But newly retrieved security footage from the venue's loading dock tells a different story. At 12:15 a.m., A figure matching Oliver's build and attire slips through a service door, glancing nervously over his shoulder. He's carrying what looks like a woman's clutch, later identified as Eleanor's, found abandoned in a utility closet hours after the search began. Investigators confront Oliver with the footage. His confident demeanor cracks. He stammers, unable to explain why he lied about his whereabouts or how he ended up with Eleanor's belongings. As detectives dig deeper, they discover Oliver had deleted several text messages from his phone that night. Messages exchanged with Eleanor herself. Their content, pieced together from cloud backups, reveals a heated argument earlier in the evening. The subject? A secret only the two of them shared. Now, the focus of the investigation shifts. Was Oliver protecting Eleanor, or hiding something far more sinister? The possibility of betrayal within the inner circle sends shockwaves through the case. Suddenly, every friendship, every alibi is in question. The truth about what happened to Eleanor may not be buried in the shadows of strangers, but hidden in plain sight among those she trusted most. The investigation has turned, but the path forward is more uncertain and more dangerous than ever. The revelations about Oliver send ripples of suspicion through the once close-knit community. In coffee shops and quiet living rooms, neighbors whisper, each with their own theory. Some convinced of Oliver's guilt, others adamant he's a scapegoat for a tragedy no one can explain. The wedding venue, once a place of celebration, now stands silent, its halls echoing with unanswered questions. Local forums light up with speculation. Rumors swirl about secret affairs, hidden debts, old grudges. Families split over dinner tables, friendships fracture, and trust, once taken for granted, becomes a rare and fragile thing. The investigators, exhausted and frustrated, find themselves chasing shadows, every lead dissolving into contradiction and doubt. Eleanor's family clings to hope, but her absence grows heavier with each passing day. The case file thickens, but the truth remains just out of reach, obscured by lies, half-truths, and the silence of those who know more than they admit. As the seasons change and the town settles into uneasy routine, a single question lingers, unanswered. What really happened to Eleanor that night? The answer, if it exists, is locked away in the hearts of those left behind, a secret kept by the silence between them. And so, the case remains open. The mystery endures, haunting the town, a story unfinished, waiting for the day when someone, somewhere finally breaks the silence. The story takes an unexpected turn as Chloe, Eleanor's maid of honor and closest confidant, finally steps forward. For weeks she's carried a secret one she's been too afraid, too ashamed to share with the investigators. Tonight, in a trembling voice, she asks to speak to Detective Harris. The camera pans across her anxious hands, the dark circles beneath her eyes, the weight of sleepless nights pressing down on her. Chloe's voice, wavering, raw, echoes in the sterile confines of the police station. I should have told you sooner. I thought I was protecting Eleanor, but now I know I was just protecting myself. The night before the wedding, Eleanor called me. She was scared. Not of Oliver, not really. She kept saying she'd made a mistake, something about a letter she'd found in Oliver's things. She wouldn't say what it was, only that it changed everything. The screen flickers to a transcript, typed words stark against black. Eleanor, Chloe, promise me you won't tell anyone. Not yet. Chloe, Ellie, you're scaring me. What's going on? Eleanor, if anything happens to me, look in the blue box under my bed. Chloe, Ellie, don't say that, please. Eleanor, just promise. Chloe, I promise. Chloe's hands tremble as she produces a small, battered blue box. Inside, a crumpled letter, Oliver's handwriting unmistakable. The contents are blurred for the viewer, but Chloe's reaction says it all. Tears streak her cheeks as she whispers, I think this is what she found. I'm sorry, Eleanor, I should have come forward sooner. The investigators' somber faces betray a mix of relief and regret. Chloe's confession cracks open the case, shifting suspicion, reframing motives, and breathing new urgency into the search for the truth. For Chloe, the confession is both a burden and a release. The secret she carried alone now belongs to everyone, and nothing will ever be the same. As the screen fades to black, the music swells a sense of hope, but also of uncertainty, as the investigation pivots. The truth, once muffled by silence, begins to find its voice. The investigation takes a dramatic turn. After Chloe's confession and the discovery of the letter, Detective Harris calls Julian back to the station. The air is thick with apprehension as Julian sits beneath harsh fluorescent lights, hands clenched, eyes darting between officers and evidence. Julian's breath quickens. His voice is barely more than a whisper. I never meant for any of this. I thought I could fix it before the wedding. What was in the letter, Julian? Julian's eyes well with tears. He buries his face in his hands, his composure shattering. It was from someone else, someone from before Eleanor. I lied to her. She found the letter and confronted me. We argued. I begged her not to leave. She was so scared. I left her alone, but when I came back, she was gone. I never hurt her, I swear, but I lied to everyone. She was going to call off the wedding and I panicked, but I was too late. His voice cracks. The investigators' faces show shock and sorrow. Why didn't you tell us this from the beginning? I was afraid. Afraid you'd think I did something to her, but I never wanted her to disappear. The confession ripples through the families, shattering what little certainty remained. For Eleanor's parents, Julian's words bring relief and new agony. The investigators now see the case in a new light. The search is no longer just about finding her, but uncovering the web of secrets that led to her vanishing. As Julian breaks down, the weight of his truth finally exposed, the screen fades to black. The truth is never as simple as it first appears. Detective Sarah Collins sits alone in her office, the city's late-night hush broken only by the hum of fluorescent lights. Her desk is littered with case files, photographs, and scribbled notes. She turns over each piece of evidence in her mind, replaying Julian's confession and Chloe's trembling words. Sarah's internal monologue cuts through the silence. Julian's story doesn't fit the timeline, but the fear in his eyes, it felt real. Still, there's something missing, something no one's admitting. The scene shifts to a tense strategy meeting in the precinct's war room. Maps and timelines are projected across the screen. Officers trade theories, but Sarah is quiet, scanning the room, listening. Suddenly, a detail leaps out. Chloe's phone records, a single call made just minutes after Eleanor vanished. Sarah interrupts. We've been looking at Julian and Chloe, but what if this is bigger? What if Eleanor left by choice, but someone helped her disappear? The room falls silent. Her colleagues exchange glances. That changes everything, Detective Harris murmurs. Back at her desk, Sarah's thoughts spiral. The law is clear. Evidence, motive, confession. But my gut says this isn't just about guilt or innocence. It's about fear, protection, and the secrets people keep to survive. She pieces together the last clues. A rideshare receipt, a hidden bank withdrawal, Eleanor's favorite necklace left behind as a message. Suddenly, the truth crystallizes. Eleanor orchestrated her own disappearance, aided by someone she trusted. This was not a crime of passion or violence, but a desperate escape from a life she could no longer bear. Sarah grapples with the implications. If I reveal everything, Eleanor loses her freedom. If I hold back, I betray my oath. The weight of her decision presses down. She closes her eyes, steadies her breath, and prepares to share her findings with the team. Knowing the truth will change everything, but may never bring closure. As the music swells, the camera lingers on Sarah's conflicted expression, the burden of justice heavy on her shoulders. The answers are in front of her, but the cost of revealing them may be too high for everyone involved. The morning after Detective Collins's revelation, the town awakens to impossible news. At sunrise, the police station doors swing open, and there stands Eleanor, alive, gaunt but resolute, her presence both a miracle and a shock. Flashbulbs from waiting reporters burst as word spreads like wildfire. The community, gathered outside, falls silent. Inside, Eleanor sits across from Detective Collins, her hands trembling as she prepares to give her statement. Her voice, at first a whisper, carries the weight of everything unsaid. I never meant to hurt anyone. I just needed to disappear. For years, I felt trapped. In my marriage, by expectations, by secrets I couldn't share. The night I vanished, Chloe helped me. She understood what it was like to hide your true self. Eleanor recounts how she and Chloe orchestrated her escape, using the rideshare receipt and the hidden bank withdrawal as a trail for Sarah to follow. Breadcrumbs, not evidence of a crime, but a plea for understanding. Julian's confusion, Chloe's fear, and the community's suspicion were all collateral damage from her desperate act. As Eleanor's family is ushered in, the reunion is raw and overwhelming. Her mother collapses into tears. Julian, shaken but relieved, embraces her. The tension between them is palpable, an unspoken apology for pain inflicted, and for truths left in the dark. Outside, the town buzzes with relief and disbelief. Some are angry at the upheaval, others simply grateful that Eleanor is alive. Detective Collins shares the full story at a press conference, her voice steady but her eyes betraying relief. This was never about crime, but about compassion, about the lengths we go to in order to survive. Eleanor's final words echo through the precinct. I hope my story helps others find the courage to leave before they have to disappear. The camera lingers on her, then on the faces of those who searched, doubted, and hoped. As the music swells, the threads of deception, fear, and longing are finally untangled. The community, forever changed, begins the slow process of healing, and for Eleanor, at last, the chance to write her own ending. In the weeks following Eleanor's return, the town breathes again cautiously, quietly, but with hope. The headlines fade, but the echoes of her disappearance linger in every conversation, every sideways glance, every hesitant smile. Julian, once the pillar of composure, now walks the shoreline at dusk, his silhouette softer, more contemplative. In the gentle hush of the waves, he learns to forgive not just Eleanor, but himself. He joins a local support group, his story helping others navigate the pain of loss and the relief of unexpected returns. The house he shared with Eleanor stands, not as a monument to heartbreak, but as a place of new beginnings. Chloe, her secret finally in the open, is met with a mixture of suspicion and admiration. Some call her an accomplice, others a hero. She finds solace in honest conversations, becoming an advocate for those who feel unseen. Her friendship with Eleanor grows deeper, bound now by truth rather than fear. Oliver, whose quiet presence was often overlooked, finds his voice in the aftermath. He organizes a town forum on mental health and personal freedom, channeling the community's confusion into understanding. Where once he watched from the sidelines, he now stands at the center, helping to mend the fractures that Eleanor's disappearance exposed. Detective Collins, who carried the weight of the case and the town's expectations, sits alone in her office, reviewing the final report. The file is closed, but the lessons remain. She speaks at the academy, teaching young officers that not every missing person is a victim, and not every case is solved with handcuffs. Sometimes justice means compassion. The case is officially resolved, no charges, but many apologies. The police issue a statement acknowledging the need for greater empathy and support for those in crisis. Eleanor's story, once a tale of vanishing, becomes a catalyst for change. In the end, the community is transformed not by scandal, but by the resilience of those who chose honesty over silence and compassion over judgment. As the credits begin to roll, the camera pans across the town, a place forever marked by mystery, but now illuminated by hope. Justice, in its truest sense, has finally been served. And for everyone touched by Eleanor's disappearance, the future holds the promise of healing, understanding, and, at last, peace.